Happy New Year. Hello and welcome to the R.A. Kalfas Construction Buckeyes postgame show. And wow, what a way to start 2022 for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Unbelievable. It looked like there was no way the Buckeyes were going to win this game with the way their defense was playing. They were down 14-0 early in the game after one quarter. They come back, make it 14-7, then it's 21-7. At halftime, the Buckeyes defense had given up 35 points. They look like the worst defense in the entire world, in the entire history of the game. And I don't know what Ryan Day said at halftime. I don't know what adjustments were made at halftime by Ohio State. But boy, did it make a difference. The Buckeyes only gave up 10 points in the second half. That's it. 10 points in the second half, and they come all the way back and win this game on a Noah Ruggles field goal with about 9 seconds left, 48-45. Let's put up some of the numbers from this one in one of the most memorable Rose Bowl games you will ever see. 48-45, 93 points, somewhere close to 1,000 yards of offense, I've got to believe. Let me look at it here on my iPad here as I pull it up. Let's see. Total yards. Utah, 463. Yeah. Buckeyes, 683. So that's 1,100 yards of total offense in this game. And if you didn't have a horse in the race, if you didn't root for Ohio State or you didn't root for Utah and you're just a college football fan and you were looking for a good bowl game, because some of these bowl games have been so-so. Some of them you don't even pay attention to because they're meaningless. And this doesn't mean anything when it comes to the national championship. But the Rose Bowl, if you're not playing in the semifinals, the Rose Bowl is one of the top two non-playoff bowls to play in, right? And the Buckeyes, I was curious to see how they would respond after getting crushed by Michigan. I mean, they got annihilated by Michigan. And I didn't know with some of the guys that were, I guess, opting out of the game, how this team would respond. Well, how about Jackson Smith in Jigba? Now, he's played all season long. Don't get me wrong, right? He's been one of the best receivers in the country, and he was the third guy on that Ohio State offense behind Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. Well, those two opt out because they're going to be more than likely both first-round picks, right? And I understand that. I get that. And Jigba then gets to move up to number one, and you're saying to yourself, all right, how is he going to handle being the number one guy? How is he going to handle maybe the defense rolling a safety over to him and trying to take him out of the game? Well, all he did in this game was set a Rose Bowl record, and I believe, if I heard correctly, he set a bowl game record of any bowl game with 15 catches for 347 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he should have had a 4th touchdown, but he fumbled the ball at the 5-yard line. Remarkable performance by Jackson Smith and Jigba. And as good as he was, almost as good, Marvin Harrison Jr., true freshman, right? Yeah, his dad, Hall of Famer, played with Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison Sr., and the Colts. He gets a chance now with Olave and Wilson out to step in as the number 2 guy. How does he perform? See it on the bottom of the screen. 6 receptions, 71 yards, 3 touchdowns. And C.J. Stroud, he really made 2 bad throws the entire game. One was intercepted in the corner of the end zone, and that was, he threw it to the inside when he should have thrown it to the outside. If his receiver doesn't get it, it goes out of bounds. It was picked in the end zone, okay? And then there was another throw that should have been intercepted in the end zone. Other than that, though, dude threw for almost 600 yards in the bowl game. And Utah supposedly was known for their defense. Now, I guess their secondary was a little banged up, whatever. But still, C.J. Stroud started a little slow, right? But then, as they got it rolling and they mixed in the ground game, 573, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Travion Henderson, a decent day on the ground, 83 yards rushing there. Just a remarkable comeback by the Buckeyes in a game that, again, really doesn't mean anything for this year. This was more of building for next year. Get that bad taste out of your mouth, losing to Michigan, 42-27, right? and take something positive into next year. And that's what they did. The defense played well in the second half. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde defense. How about this pun? And this is intended, right? Night and day defense, right? Night and day difference. In the first half, 35 points. Second half, 10 points. I had a buddy of mine, it was either on Facebook or on Twitter. He said, Roadman, are you going to start calling him Ryan A? No defense. No, they played some defense in the second half, right? Because we used to call Damon Jones, Eamon Owens. No D, no J. Well, there was no D in the first half by the Buckeyes. So, yeah, you're thinking, do we start calling him Ryan A? Well, the D came back in the second half. The offense continued, and the Buckeyes win the Rose Bowl to finish the season. What are they? Let's see. They finish at 11-2. 13 games. They finish 11-2. And they're going to be a top 5 team. As Notre Dame lost, and how about that? I remember tweeting this out at halftime. Do the Buckeyes come back and win this one based on what we saw earlier today with Notre Dame blowing a 28-7 lead and Oklahoma State came back to win? And sure enough, the Buckeyes did what Oklahoma State did. Oklahoma State, I think, won by 2. Buckeyes win by 3. So a good way to end this season and a great way to start 2022, at least for the offense and the second half with the defense. The defense needs a ton of work, though. I mean, after watching Georgia and Alabama play defense and the Buckeyes play defense, I said it. Bigger, stronger, faster. It's like, again, night and day, the players they have on defense and the players the Buckeyes have on defense. All right, let's bring in our good buddy, Josh Paloa from Waiting for Next Year. Happy New Year, Josh.
Happy New Year, Kenny. And what a happy one. Well, what a happy second half it was. First half was ugly. Second half, man.
Josh, I mean,
That's
come
beautiful
out there. What was the difference? What did you see? Was it just desire? Was it just the want to? Was it the embarrassment of the first half as to why the second half was that different defensively?
All the above, maybe. I don't know. Like the coach, it's thank goodness we have a new defensive coordinator coming in.
Well,
I mean, Jim Knowles has to be happy too. With that, I know you said it before I joined here. Yeah. That offense, give up 30 points or less, and you're going to win the Big Ten.
Right. No question. No question, Josh. Do you think they contacted Knowles at halftime? Do you think there was a bat phone in the locker room and Ryan Day said, hey, what did you see out there? Tell me what I can do to fix this damn defense that sucks, that's the worst in the world right now, Coach Knowles. What did you see? And I'll pass it along to whoever. Heck, I'll call the defensive plays too. I'm calling the offensive plays. Tell me what to call, and we'll call it in the second half.
I don't know what it was. Yeah, but I know you said that 10 points in the second half. I mean, I don't know if it's the scheme. I don't know if it's the players. I don't know if it's the recruiting. There's a lot of questions on the defense. I'm just excited. It's hard for me to not smile when I think about Ohio State's offense next season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. With Henderson coming back, Stroud coming back, and Jigba, Harrison coming back. Fleming, right? Still, he was only a sophomore. And, he's a decent player, not a great player. Jaden Ballard from Massillon maybe gets some time next year. We'll see. Plus the kids that are coming in this year. So the offensive line was good today, right? They gave him protection. And the running game was okay, got better when they got to the outside. Josh, what against these stout defensive lines, Michigan and Utah, you're not going to run between the tackles, right? You're going to need to get the perimeter. And I was surprised they didn't use any jet sweeps or anything like that to try and get to the perimeter in the first half. But I can't really bitch and moan too much about the offense. Almost 700 yards. And 48 points, right?
And they gave up. Jigba should have had another touchdown, and then C.J. Stroud had that bad throw. So they could have literally had 60 or 62 points easily. I mean, C.J. Stroud, I didn't see. He's going to be a top 2. Him and Bryce Young will be top 2 Heisman favorites next year. And then Smith and Jigba, I know prior to the season, Garrett Wilson said Smith and Jigba is the best receiver in this wide receiver room right now. Right. Everyone was like, how? You have Chris Olave and you. They both sat out today because they're going to be first-round picks in the NFL draft in April. How are you going to say Smith and Jigba is the best receiver of you? I think he proved why tonight. He doesn't have blazing speed, but he just has, like, a way of making the right move at the right time and a way of just getting open and knowing where to get open.
I was told his route running tree, as they like to say in the business, I don't know what that means, but his route running tree, right, is as good as any receiver in the country in the last 10 years. That he's that good in running routes, finding the open seams in a zone, beating his guy when it's man-to-man coverage, adjusting to the ball. So, yeah, I mean, think about that. You're given the pressure of being the number one guy now in the Rose Bowl, and you go out and set a Rose Bowl and I guess all bowl game record, 347 yards receiving. Not too shabby.
He was the third best receiver. He was WR3, as you call it, on a depth chart this year. And he set the single season passing or receiving yards record and the single season receptions record in Ohio State history. I mean,
wow.
I don't know if it's Brian Hartline that's so good at recruiting or if he just knows the right guys to get. I know Kirk Herbstreit, even during the game, there was a play where they showed the replay. Utah had 3 players. They know where Smith and Jigbo was going to go. Right. And he still got like a 50-yard reception.
Right. Yeah. Hey, how about this? Somebody wanted to know. Look at this. Joseph Bradley is Pookie on with you tonight. There he is. No, wait. There we go. There's Pookie.
I'm currently at his house. He's upstairs about me right now.
Yeah, there you go.
Said, hey, send me the link so I can do a Pookie comment. And there
you go. Well, he got it, man. Outstanding. We got a bunch of people. We're going to answer some questions. A lot of people watching us tonight here on this New Year's Day 2022. Goodbye 2021. Hello 2022. The Buckeyes 1-0 in 2022. And Josh, because this meant nothing as far as the college football playoff, right? These bowl games, to me, what did I watch? I watched both playoff games yesterday.
Oh, that was.
And then I wanted to see Notre Dame get beat today, so I watched a little bit of that. So it was a great 24 hours because Michigan got crushed, got embarrassed. They lost. The Crying Irish of Notre Dame lost, and the Buckeyes come back and win. So the hat trick for me. And if you listen to the Kenny and JT show this week, we told you to take Utah and the 4.5 points because we thought it would be a field goal game one way or the other. So if you did, you cashed in with Utah on the 4.5. Hopefully, Josh, you listened to the Kenny and JT show and you were able to cash in on that to start 2022 the right way.
I try not to bet on Ohio State games.
Mm-hmm.
Like you always say, always bet the over.
Yeah, well, in college football, yes.
57.
Okay. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Hypothetically, if Ohio State was down 14 during the game and it went to plus 3.5 Ohio State, I may or may not have put money on it.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Hypothetically.
So, okay.
I mean, you never count on – in just the way that I knew the defense would not give up 35 points in the second half. And I knew the offense would
You were confident?
High.
Really?
Yes.
I thought they were going to give up at least 3 more touchdowns. I thought it was going to be like a 56 52 game or something like that. But I was happy to see the difference because I was ripping them and they deserved to.
Yes,
what did Ryan Day? Did he say it was despicable? Is that the term
at
Ryan
halftime?
Day at halftime? Is that the word he used?
He knows that this defense is dead. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this defense. They have to let go of at least one guy to make room for Jim Knowles, who will join the staff tomorrow.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see who else leaves. I'm fine with anyone else leaving that's not named Larry Johnson.
Okay. All right. Well, let me get some of these comments that people are watching on Facebook. Paul Cray is checking us out on Facebook, and he says, Happy New Year, guys. Ryan Day said players took over the locker room like the Wisconsin Big Ten championship game 2 years ago and called out the lack of intensity and toughness. Thanks, Paul. I didn't get to hear Ryan Day's postgame. So that's nice. So maybe not so much Ryan Day chewing somebody out or the team out. The players, I guess, holding themselves accountable in the locker room at halftime. That's great to hear. Don't you like to hear that more than the coaches had to do it, Josh?
Absolutely. I mean, I'd love to hear, I'm sure it won't come out, I'd love to hear who was the leader of that. That should be the true leader going into next season, or leaders. It's not too often, especially at halftime. It's not too often that players do that at halftime.
Right, of a game. Right. Well, it was needed because it was embarrassing. One of my fraternity brothers from Baldwin Wallace, Dennis Meek, is checking us out on Facebook. An all-time classic. Go Buckeyes. VTL Dennis, good to hear from you. And a shout out to my old college roommate in Toronto who may or may not be watching us. Where's Karpus? John Karpus. We've been texting back and forth during the game and everything. John Sherwood. hit us up on Facebook, said, greatest bowl game I have ever watched. Amazing. I would love to have been a fly on the wall at halftime. Happy New Year, Roadman. Well, we found out, John, it was the players who called each other out. I'm sure a few F-bombs were dropped and a few other cuss words were used and, some banging on the lockers with helmets and whatever it took to get them fired up and to come back and play like they did. It was great to see. Philip Meade, great comeback by a team who was depleted on defense. Craig Easterday, good to see Craig the other day at Johnny Malloy's for Monday Night Football. What a comeback. Told my buddy that they scored too soon. Stroud and Jigba and Harrison Jr. Were tremendous. Defense improved in the second half. Looking forward to seeing what Coach Knowles can do for the defense. And Ruggles is money in the bank. Buckeyes and the Big Ten slide in bowl games. Great momentum builder for next year. Go Bucks. Bruce Jr. says, Happy New Year, Roadman and Pookie. John Sherwood, I expected Utah to go for 2 on the TD with 2 minutes left. So did I. I was shocked that they kicked the extra point because I didn't think there was any way if this game went to overtime, they could go toe-to-toe with the Buckeyes offense. Were you surprised they didn't go for 2?
We were actually – I watched the game with my family, and one of my cousin's husbands said, why don't they go for 2? It's Utah. You probably don't stand a chance in overtime. I think my response was, I think if they had their starting quarterback, they go for 2. You can't count on your backup quarterback.
Well, didn't he come in and throw the game-tying touchdown? I thought he came back in.
No, their starter was out. They took off his helmet. They hit his helmet.
Yeah, but I thought I saw in the box score. Let me look here. Let's see who threw it. Oh no, Bryson Barnes. You're right. Yeah, he didn't come back in.
I don't know if he was a true freshman or retro freshman.
Okay.
And that receiving touchdown was a freshman walk-on for Utah. So they must have a pretty young team too then. So
there you go. So it was the
Utah,
backup. Yeah,
okay. It was the backup. He looked decent, but I just think in that situation with a freshman, not only a freshman, but then a backup quarterback, I think that's a lot of pressure on a kid.
Yeah. Let's see what else we have here. Craig Easterday, Brad Hajasic, and 5 others are checking us out. We appreciate that. Craig Easterday also says, Happy New Year, Pookie. We need to get some linebackers. Philip Meade, the future is very bright for next year, especially on offense. Hopefully the new defensive coordinator can get this group back to playing like the old Buckeye defense. What do they need, in your opinion, player-wise, Josh? Defensively. What is it that they lack? What is it that they need that they don't have that they have to go out and somehow, some way find and get it done?
Probably some help at safety. I know Lathan Ransom he probably broke his leg tonight on that kickoff return for a touchdown. It looked ugly, and they put an air cast on it immediately. The good thing about that, though, I know you didn't ask this. Oklahoma State starting safety entered the transfer portal when Jim Knowles left, so I wouldn't be surprised if he comes to Ohio State. That'd be a big-time addition for them.
Sure.
Cornerback, I think they're good. They're very young. Denzel Burke and those guys are very young. They're all mainly coming back.
Linebackers are terrible.
Yeah. They're young. Eichenberg had some plays tonight, but they don't have like that. I know we talked about this probably months ago now doing a game. They don't have that Ryan Shazier, James Laurinaitis type linebacker. They just have like a bunch of if you were to put it in quarterback terms, they have a bunch of game managers. They don't have a playmaker, if that makes sense.
You're correct. They're more like beefed up safeties than real linebackers. Like I said, when I watched Georgia yesterday, when I watched Alabama, and I looked at the size of their linemen offensively and defensively and their linebackers, Josh, night and day between what Ohio State has and what they have. So Ryan Day, as good as he can recruit offensively, not so much, on the defensive side of the ball. That has to get better as far as recruiting. Mark Chalmers is watching us on Facebook. Happy New Year, Mark. Jim Kadar also watching. We appreciate that. Kyle Yates is checking us out today here on the R.A. Kalfas Construction Postgame Show. Michael Kirkwood also watching us. Ray Green, Happy New Year to all you guys. Jim Kadar says, Njigba got jiggy with it. And boy, did he ever, man. 15 catches for 347 and 3 touchdowns.
I might use that as a title if I write something on Smith and Jigba this week. Smith and Jigba got jiggy with it. That's catchy.
Or how about just this? Jackson gets Njigba with it. How about that? I like that better. I might use that. I don't know. Whoever writes the story first when we're done doing the post-game show,
you will.
for your website or my website, we'll use that. All right.
It's all you. I don't have my laptop on me, so
okay. All right. Timothy Eibel is watching us today. We appreciate that. So is Tom Cassidy, Ken Dworsnick. Happy New Year to Ken and the family. Appreciate that. David Richardson checking us out. Dave Ferrari watching us. Alan Carter says, why is Ohio State so bad on defense for the last 3 years? Bad tackling and slow. What do you think it is? It wasn't just the first half today. It wasn't just the Michigan game, Josh. He's right. Last year against Alabama, earlier in the year against Oregon, the last 3 years defensively since Ryan Day's been there. Is it the lack of recruiting the right players on defense, the five-star guys on defense?
It's been ever since Jeff Hafley left, which brings me to my next point today. Clark Phillips III, he was Utah's best cornerback tonight. He had that he caused the fumble on Smith and Jigba going in for a touchdown. He had a key interception, and then he was he was really good cornerback. He was committed to Ohio State with Hafley. When Hafley left, he took the Boston College job. Clark Phillips committed to Utah. That's a big time loss. I know they said it throughout the broadcast tonight, but their scheme is one thing. They were playing super soft coverage tonight. I don't really understand that. Luckily, Jim Knowles doesn't do that.
Right.
He plays tight man coverage. And then tackling, that's just coaching. That's just something.
Oh, their tackling was atrocious.
It was atrocious.
On that kickoff return. Oh, my goodness.
The kickoff, and then the one where the Utah quarterback broke out, somehow scored that touchdown on 4th and 1 or whatever, 3rd and 1, whatever it was.
Right.
It's boys, the Browns didn't know how to tackle. Now they suddenly do. I hope that happens at the Ohio State one. And like I said, I'm just focused on the offense because the offense is going to be so fun. I just hope the defense is average.
I'm focused on the defense because to win a championship, you're not going to beat Alabama with that defense. You're not going to beat Georgia with that defense. I'm sorry. You're just not.
Yes, no,
others watching us today. Anna Roda is watching us. Hello, Anna. Happy New Year. Dale Milano checking us out. He said, I think if Utah scored with seconds left, they would have went for 2. So maybe they were thinking they could hold Ohio State and keep them from a field goal. I don't know. I would have went for 2 and put more pressure on Ohio State. And then if you don't get it, you onside kick. And the way Ohio State special teams were there, maybe, you recover the onside kick. David Richardson sent us this message. I was glad to see the defense dig in and play aggressively in the second half defensively. It was like watching 2 different games. Great job. Way to go, Buckeyes. Dennis Meek, too many missed tackles on defense. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a great game from Philip Meade. Mike S. Woodling is watching us. I had every range of emotion possible in that game. Me too. I was cussing. I was tweeting and cussing at the same time. Cussing out loud, and I didn't want to tweet what I was cussing, so I had to clean it up on Twitter and everything. But he's right, man. You talk about the wave of emotion throughout that game with that offense and defense. But it's been that way in the tougher games, right? All season long.
I went into tonight with no expectations.
Okay.
One, because I know it's the Rose Bowl.
Right.
And I know some not old timers, just college football fanatics hate when people say that it's a meaningless bowl. But in the world of the college football playoffs, the Rose Bowl, it's not what it used to be. It's not it. They call it the granddaddy of them all. It's not really the granddaddy of them all anymore. I was just excited to see all the young guys. Marvin Harrison Jr., he had 5 catches all year. He's not only a physical specimen, but that one route he had for that, I think his 3rd touchdown tonight.
Yeah.
He's an 18-year-old true freshman. I was just excited to see what the young players could do tonight, and a lot of them showed out.
How about this? And let me throw this one up there from our good buddy Adam Cerny. Go Bucks, Kenny, New Year's Day road, man. The freshman class stepped up today for the Buckeyes, the Ohio State Talent 21 recruiting class. And you're right, Adam. You mentioned it, Josh. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 5 catches all year, 6 today in the game, okay? And 3 of them went for touchdowns. Travion Henderson, solid on the ground with 83 rushing yards there. And he had 27 receiving yards. So he had over 100 total yards as well, 110 to be exact. So those 2 freshmen and a redshirt freshman quarterback, right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah. They will have their entire – I don't know how the offensive line is age-wise. I think they're mostly back. There's a couple that will be gone. But they'll have all their skill position players back that played tonight except for Jeremy Ruckert.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Here's one for
They're
you,
all
Josh.
sophomores or freshmen.
Stephanie Armstrong
that's
says
another
hello.
family member. At least she called me Josh.
She called you Josh. She didn't call you Pookie. I'm surprised by that.
Pookies around here.
Let's see here. Oh, here's another one from Joseph Bradley.
Gosh.
Pookie's mom is wondering if she should heat up some hanky-pankies for him after the podcast. Great podcast. What are hanky-pankies, Josh? I don't know what that food is.
I don't even know how to explain it. It's like,
is it pigs in the
good.
blanket?
No, it's like little pieces of like bread.
Okay.
I can hear myself upstairs, by the way. I can hear
the people are listening. Yeah. Is it meat? Is it a dough with?
It's like it's like meat. It's hard to explain. I guess to Scoodle, it's hard to explain, but they're good.
Hanky
I had
pankies.
way too many of them last night.
All right. What about this question? I'll throw this one your way from Brandon Natal. Any opinions on Marcus Williamson?
Did you see his tweets tonight, Kenny?
No, I did not.
He was a starting defense. I don't even know. I think he's a hybrid linebacker / corner. He supposedly got kicked off the team before this trip. So he retired from football, and he put all of his emotions on Twitter tonight throughout the game. It might be I'll send you his Twitter account after. It might be a good Twitter account to go.
Send me some screenshots, all right, so I can read. I did not see any of that.
It's just one of those things where sometimes you just shouldn't tweet everything. Why? Oh, there we go. That's my aunt. She's answering it for me. Small bread slices with ground meat and cheese.
I know what that I've heard them called different things, but I kind of figured that's what it was. I used to call them beef pinwheels. Okay. And what it was dough in a spiral, and it had ground beef and cheese in there. And then you put gravy over top too. So that's what my
there's no calories. And anyone watching, there's no calories involved.
What do you mean no calories? How can there be no calories?
I don't watch calories. So I don't have to worry about calories.
So there's no calories. Okay. Let's see.
I like how the last 7 comments have all been family members. And
it's nice.
It's good. Only one Pookie so far, but now it's going to be more now that I said that.
Your family members are viewers too, Josh. That's what matters here. Okay. Tom Cassidy. Let's see what Tom had to say here. Where'd my comments go? There we go. I'm still learning how to do all this stuff. They look clueless on defense. Do they all know their assignments? They didn't look like they did in the first half, but maybe they figured it out in the second half. Here's something that'll go maybe not talked about as much, but the kickoff returns. Ibuka, right? Was that Ibuka who had some big kickoff returns for them and one got called back?
Yes, one Ibuka, true freshman. He was
right.
He'll be a top 4 receiver next year for them.
Okay.
He's been so close to breaking one all year. He's never actually broken one.
But that's okay. Got him great field position for the final drive, right? Wasn't it Ibuka who had that kickoff return? So thumbs up to him.
Next year.
Alan Rodak.
He's a great wide receiver too, but go on.
Yeah. Alan Rodak is watching us today. Paul Cray says beef and cheese melt on rye mini bread for the hanky pankies.
Rye mini bread. That's the word I was searching for. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. And hey, I want to give a shout out to our guy, Bob Kalfas. You see it up there in the corner of the screen from R.A. Kalfas Construction. I've known Bob for 15, 20 years. And R.A. Kalfas Construction, if you're looking in 2022 to remodel your home, maybe by next year's bowl season, you want to have a new man cave in the basement. You want to redo your man cave or put a man cave in. R.A. Kalfas Construction in Strongsville, Ohio. They're the place to go. They're the people to call. They're simply the best. 440-238-5498. Over 35 years, locally owned and operated, family owned and operated. And they do an unbelievable job. They can build you a brand new house. They can remodel your house. They can update your house. They can build you the man cave, put a deck in, whatever you need. And Bob is a huge Buckeyes fan, and that's why he's on board with us all season long here for the most part on the Buckeyes postgame show. So call Bob and the gang at R.A. Kalfas Construction, 440-238-5498. You can ask for Bob, Courtney, or Chris. The family will take care of you. Tell them the Roadman sent you. Might even give you a discount, too, if you're looking to do something in 2022 to the home.
An even bigger discount if you say Pookie sent you. He'll have no idea what you're talking about, but just let it be.
The Pookie discount. Yeah, there you go. It's going to be the Pookie
that
discount.
Has a nice ring to it. The Pookie
it's
discount.
Not bad. Yeah, you should, waiting for next year, you should have like the Pookie code and you get 10% off something, right? Oh my. Let's see. What else do we have here with the banners we want to throw up? We'll just put the final score up there on the bottom. So the Buckeyes, let's see. Michigan gets blowed out. Cincinnati gets blowed out, although defensively they did a decent job against Alabama, I thought. So it's Alabama, Georgia for the national championship, Josh. So they're going to be 1-2. Does Ohio State move up to number 3? Or because Michigan beat Ohio State, there's no way that the pollsters will put Ohio State ahead of Michigan? I hope they don't, because I want that to be the final ranking, so there's that extra incentive for next year. I think the Buckeyes could be 4th. I think it could go whoever wins the title, right? Then whoever loses, Michigan 3rd, and then Ohio State and Cincinnati 5th. That's the way I think it might end up in the rankings.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, you're probably right. Michigan will probably be 3. But the only thing I know is that Michigan in 2022 is 0-1, and Ohio State's 1-0.
That's it.
It's beautiful. It's a great day to be an Ohio State Buckeye. I know I heard all the time, it's a great day to be a Michigan Wolf, but whatever that crap song was.
It's great.
They had their Super Bowl.
A Florida Gator said it's great to be. Yeah, that chant too. And
I said this earlier to my family upstairs. Ohio State played 2 straight Super Bowls for their opponents.
True.
That was their Super Bowl tonight.
Yeah.
They could say that they had aspirations of a playoff, blah, 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 blah. The game was their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
I actually, to be honest, on the show, I said, take Utah in the 4.5, and I picked Utah to win outright by a field goal. I thought it would be the other way around. I didn't think the Buckeyes, it would matter. And maybe in a strange way, Josh, maybe that they fell behind and were getting embarrassed 14-0 after the first quarter woke them up. And that's what inspired that, halftime locker room discussion that the players supposedly led as opposed to the head coach.
Yeah, you're right. It's college football, but I think say what you want about opt-outs. I think the younger players playing tonight, it mattered a little bit more to them. They weren't just playing for a Rose Bowl win. They were playing for playing time and moving up on a depth chart going into next year.
Right.
But I think it mattered to the entire team. I want to know who. I want to know. We'll never find out what was said, but I want to know.
Yes, you will. Eventually, it may not be this year, but eventually, when somebody that said something in the locker room graduates or goes on to the NFL, then it'll eventually come out. Remember, who was it?
When LeBron broke his hand?
No, one of the players. A few years ago with Urban Meyer, Simon. What was Simon's name? John Simon. He, I guess, took over the locker room in that Michigan State game, I think it was. And that's when Urban Meyer said he's a grown-ass man, right? As he took over and made sure that the team – so it eventually comes out, but it may not come out right away. We may have to wait a little while.
Yeah. Whoever said it, legend, or multiple people, legend. I don't think the game mattered tonight for anyone but the young players, and I think whatever was said at halftime and whoever said it, the game mattered, and you could tell in the second half. The offense did what it did. They dominated basically the whole game. They had 2 bad turnovers.
Yep.
Defense, like you said earlier, 35 points in the first half, 10 points in the second half. You can blame on that. I don't know if it's adjustments. I don't know if it's just actually wanting to win the game. I don't know. But, Ronnie Hickman had a couple bad plays. He had that huge 4th down stop. Eichenberg played really good, especially in the second half. I just want to know what was said at halftime. I'm really intrigued by that. Before Paul said that, I had no idea. I haven't been on Twitter since after the game or saw any of the postgame either. So I just want to know what was said at halftime.
I'm just looking at some more of the comments. William Wickham is watching us. Happy New Year, William. Thanks for checking in. Jim Cater says, I hope Olave is enjoying his scholarship. He definitely needs to take some classes on being a team player. I disagree with you, Jim, and here's why. He's not the only one doing this. If they were playing for a national championship, Olave, Garrett Wilson, Haskell Garrett, who's the offensive lineman, Petit Friere, they all would have played. Why take a chance of getting hurt if you're already a first-round pick or a second-round pick? So that's unfortunately the way this is going in college football. So I found it really interesting, though, that Olave made the trip with them. Okay,
and practice all week. He practiced all week, too.
Now, and maybe we'll find out. Maybe that helped Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jackson Smith-Njigba with him being there. But I did find that my first reaction to that was, well, that's kind of selfish. You don't want to play. Why should you be with the team? You said no thank you, and you turned your back on them because you want to go make the money. And I don't have a problem with it, but don't go with the team. But maybe that helped in getting those young guys ready to play, because I'm looking besides, let's see, Njigba 15 catches, Harrison 6, Ibuka 3, Fleming had 5. So those receivers, the young guys, all stepped up in a big way tonight when called upon.
Yeah, I mean, you can take the Olave thing. You can go either side of the fence with him traveling. You can say, why did he travel?
Yep.
He opted out. He shouldn't get the benefit of being in LA for a week. Or you can go the other side and say, he opted out. He didn't have to attend. He could have just started to get ready for the NFL draft in April, but he was there for his team. That shows leadership. So I don't think there's a wrong there, but I think him being there, whether it was like during practice saying, hey, this is the type of routes you do, or just like being there. I think being there on the sidelines is probably a huge confidence boost, especially for the true freshman like Marvin Harrison Jr.
All right, give me a play of the game or turning point. I've got mine. I want to see if yours is the same as mine as I was watching this game, and I highlighted it, and let's discuss it here. Give me a turning point or the play of the game in your opinion. Pick one of those two categories, and let's see if yours is similar to mine or exactly the same as mine.
I'm trying to think. Without being able to look at like the exact scores in order, I'd say, I know it'll be surprising because I'm going to go defense, holding Utah to that field goal.
Okay.
When it was, I think it was late third quarter. Without looking it up, because I can't look it up because I'm on my phone. So if I leave it, I'm out of this. But that was holding them to a field goal to keep it a 10-point game, and then Ohio State came out and scored immediately. I think that was a huge turning point.
Okay, for me, get the ball to start the second half. You're in the red zone, and Stroud throws one of his few bad passes that he threw. It's intercepted in the end zone, right? For me, forcing a punt there on that possession after when Utah had the ball and the punter dropping the punt, the snap, fumbling the punt.
Yeah,
to me,
right.
That was the turning point right there, because the Buckeyes, it looks like at that point they're going to go in and score and make it 35-28 on the very first possession, and he throws the pick, and I'm thinking, oh, shit, here we go. Big mental mistake, major mistake. And then for the defense to force the punt and then the punter to just drop the ball, and the Buckeyes get it in the red zone, and they got called for holding on the first play and still were able to score a touchdown to get back to 35-28 at that point, okay? I thought that was the key moment. And then the second key moment was the one you brought up. The defense, again, rising up, forcing a field goal instead of giving up a touchdown. So the first two possessions of the second half defensively showed that things were changing defensively for the Buckeyes. So ironically, it's the two defensive plays.
I love how we had 3 opportunities to choose offense, and all 3. You chose 2, I chose 1.
Right.
All defense.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, so the defensive adjustments in the second half to me were the key, or if they weren't adjustments, just the intensity key. And so kudos to Ryan Day and Matt Barnes and the coaching staff and the players for somehow, some way finding a way to win this game and start 2022 the right way and prepare for next season, because it definitely is something to build on, and that gets rid of that bad taste of Michigan. But I hope they don't forget too much, Josh, right? I still want them to. Did you see the signs yesterday at the game? Ryan Day is still on third base at the Michigan game, and all these different signs that were up there. So and then
if Ryan Day is on third base, where exactly is Michigan? What base are they on as a football program?
There were tweets today that said Jim Harbaugh was on first and got picked off because it was his first win over Ohio State, and they lost yesterday 36-11 or whatever it was.
I know Ohio State has a bunch of TVs on, like, you always see them in the practice field, and they usually say, like, beat whoever they're playing next.
Right.
I think all off season it might just have the final score of the Ohio State Michigan game, and why not?
I would
too, absolutely.
Just like what was the code the one year was the loss to Florida. I think Jim Tressel put that in there, 41-14. That was the code to get in to the Woody Hayes Center or something like that to remind everybody. The little simple, mental games.
Just 4 digits But every single player and every single member of the coaching staff will know exactly what those 4 digits are, and it's the final score of the Ohio State Michigan game.
Now look at
Anything
this.
to motivate the players. Anything to motivate 18 to 21-year-olds.
I love when people are watching us and they really pay attention and then they drop knowledge like this on us. Jason Zamotel, the
That's not even
Pookie
a
Price.
family member either. And
how about that?
Jason, I don't know if I know you, Jason, but I like that.
It's like the Rogers rate, right? You got the Rogers rate.
Discount check.
What do they call it? The Mahomes. What is it? You got the Rogers rate. Is it the Patrick Price? Well, I like the Pookie Price better.
Patrick Price. We're talking about the Rogers rate as in like the future Browns quarterback, hopefully, maybe.
Yeah. Also, Jason says I could see some of the Utes were making fun of OSU. Yeah, they were feeling pretty good about themselves for a while there.
And then it was crazy how later in the game they didn't really do much of anything at celebrating wise. They were all about celebrating. They were standing over Ohio State players and everything in the first half.
Well, and the crowd was, what I was told, 75-25 in favor of Utah.
Ohio State didn't. I heard 75-25, and then Ohio State didn't even sell. I think they sent back a third of their allotment of tickets.
Okay.
So, I mean, but then again, hey.
Here's the thing that pissed me off in losing to Michigan and not playing in maybe the championship game this year. Indianapolis was the site. You know how many people would have driven to Indianapolis, didn't have to pay a plane fare to go to Indy and could buy tickets? That place would have been all Buckeye fans. But West Coast bowl game, yes, but doesn't mean anything when it comes to the national championship. I could see why, some people didn't go.
Before you go on, though, it's funny that Bama and Georgia now have to play in Big Ten country, even though they're the set.
But they get to play indoors. I'd like to see them come up here and play outside in a game that matters.
Yeah, exactly. True.
Munford and Nicholas Freire will be gone, going to need some new O-linemen. What do you know about the O-line for next year, Josh?
I don't know much. Yeah. I mean, Freire was out tonight, and then Munford played, but I know Paris Johnson, they moved. He was a sophomore this year.
Okay.
He was the left tackle last year. They moved him into guard so Munford and Freire could play out wide, and he has basically been saying that he wants to be the left tackle again, so he'll be the left tackle next year. But besides that, I don't really know much of him.
All right, here's another one. That's the one I already put up. My bad. What about this? What do you think of the targeting call?
Targeting is the second worst penalty in football. The worst one is pass interference in the NFL. I don't mind targeting. I get why it's a penalty, but they need to have tiers.
Yes.
Not every targeting should be ejectable. Yes.
Amen.
I mean,
and in that case, I didn't think Sawyer deserved to be ejected.
Yeah, I mean, what's he supposed to do there? How else does he make that tackle?
Here's the thing. If you're in the motion of making a tackle and the other guy ducks and then I think you can tell which ones are straight spears. The intent is to spear. I didn't think the intent was to spear him. And the helmet got part of the face mask, but the other part got the ball. And like you said, tiers of targeting. Okay, you want to call that targeting? Fine, 15 yards, but don't throw them out of the game.
I know you're a huge soccer fan, so I'll do a soccer reference.
All right.
In indoor soccer, there's a blue card, a yellow card, and a red card. Blue card, you're out of the game for like 2 minutes or something. Yellow card is nothing, but if you get 2 yellow cards, you're out.
Right.
So why not, if it for like a minor one, blue card, you're out for the rest of the drive. Yellow card, a drive, but then if you rack up 2 yellow cards, you're done, no matter how bad the target is.
I'm okay with that.
And then if it's a spear, you're out, no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if it's a sky judge, even in the NFL, the referees don't need to make this decision. Have it be someone in New York that can help them out, that can see all the replays and do. It doesn't have to be the referees on the field that make this. It shouldn't be a pass-fail test in a game. Like I know, Alabama, I think, had a player last night that had a target in the second half, so now he misses the first half of the national championship. You're really going to have a player miss the biggest game of his life for a targeting call that shouldn't have even been ejectable?
Right. And that's the part of the rule that sucks. If you get it in the first half, you only have to sit out the second half the next week. If you get it in the second half, you got to sit out the whole game. That's total bullshit, in my opinion. And that needs to be changed. A couple of new people are watching us. Dan Bertoloni is watching us today, and Chuck Mulberg is checking us out. Happy New Year to both of you guys. All right, Josh, who wins the national championship game? That's coming up a week from Monday in Indianapolis. Alabama ranked number 1, Georgia ranked number 3 coming into these semifinals this weekend. Who do you like in the title game?
Bama just dominated Georgia in the SEC championship, so I was surprised to see that the line opened as Georgia -3. They're 3-point favorites, which makes me think that Vegas knows. It's one of those Vegas knows things. They want everyone to put their money on Bama, and Vegas, it'll be like after the game, we're all like, Vegas knows. But for me, it's got to be Bama. Until Nick Saban loses, especially as an underdog, don't ever have Nick Saban be an underdog in a big game.
What's he call that? Rat poison?
Well.
Rat poison?
Yeah, and he's to use that as motivation all week. He'll probably just put +3 on every single board in Alabama's workout area, practice field, everything.
Here's why I think
but Bama just dominated.
Here's why I think Vegas made him the home fave or the favorites. They think possibly that Alabama's going to be overconfident because they've beaten Georgia 7 straight times, beat them in a national championship game before, crushed them earlier this season, and they were an overwhelming win against Cincinnati, and maybe they were taking it easy. I don't know, whatever. So I think maybe that's why. For me, it comes down to quarterback play, and I'm not sold on Georgia's quarterback versus the Heisman Trophy winner and Bryce Young. So until Saban gets beat, and I'll go with the better quarterback, I'll take Bama winning the national championship.
99.9% of coaches, I'd say maybe they can be overconfident. Nick Saban, there's no way, absolutely, he'll say they're the worst team ever. If you guys were better, you'd be favored Monday night.
Right.
It's something. Just Nick Saban is Nick Saban. He's the GOAT for a reason. Never bet against him. Never put him as the underdog, especially in the national championship game. And I'll go Bama by 2 touchdowns.
I'll go Bama by 3. I think it'll be a lot closer this time.
3?
Yeah.
I hope it's a close game. I want to see a close. I mean, when was the last time we had a close national championship game, to be honest?
I don't remember, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. Yesterday, I tweeted out when the kid missed the field goal for Alabama and the laces were, straight, that Nick Saban was recruiting a new holder at halftime and probably chewed that kid out for not turning the laces out on that missed field goal. Those little things, man. Hey, he knows. Little details like that can determine national championships or an early exit from the playoffs.
Yep, and that's why he's the GOAT. I mean,
7 national titles.
Yeah, I hate to say it because it's Bama, and I dislike the SEC with a passion. But Nick Saban is the GOAT for a reason. I mean, even after the game yesterday, they just made it to the national championship. They took care of business against Cincinnati, and he was not. I mean, I only saw pictures of his post-game press conference, but you would have thought that he just lost by 5 touchdowns.
Right. How about Kirby Smart though? Too. No, don't you throw Gatorade on me. We didn't win anything. I love that too.
Hey, he's coming from the Nick Saban tree. He knows exactly. Getting to the national championship means, I mean, you can say, yes, it means a lot. It doesn't mean Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State doesn't just want to get to the national championship. They want to win it.
Right.
So unless I get celebrating getting there, but it means nothing for those coaches, especially because I'm sure there's a big bonus coming their way if they win it too.
Yes, absolutely. NIL money for all those kids. They win another time. How about this? If Saban wins, it'll be his 8th national championship overall, 7th at Alabama, 1 at LSU. And the 8 national championships will tie Belichick's 8 Super Bowl rings that he has, 6 as a head coach, 2 as an assistant coach. And to take it full circle, Josh Paloha, Belichick was the head coach of the Browns in 94, and Nick Saban was his defensive coordinator. And, of course, OIC only in Cleveland. The Browns move. Belichick gets fired by Baltimore. He goes to the Jets. He quits by writing it on a napkin and goes to the Patriots. And Saban ends up coaching at Alabama, and they're the 2 greatest coaches of our lifetime.
Yeah, the Browns once had the greatest college football coach and the greatest NFL coach ever. I'd say ever. Honestly.
Yes.
And they were on the same coaching staff in Cleveland. It's crazy. But that is full circle, though.
It is full circle. Give me final thoughts on the Buckeyes win and the season and moving ahead to next year.
Season was a disappointment. You didn't win the Big Ten. You lost to Michigan. Those are 2. No, I'm fine with losing to Oregon. It is what it is. But, yeah, you lost to Michigan. You didn't even get to the Big Ten championship. Running the Rose Bowl is good. It's a good confidence boost for the young players to get to the next season. I'm very excited about the offense. Like I said earlier, all skill position players will be back except for the starting tight end. Defense needs some work, but I'm very excited to see what Jim Knowles can do. I know his schemes will be much different. He's a much more aggressive guy, a much more tight man coverage on the outside guy. I think that will favor Ohio State, especially with Denzel Burke and those guys on the outside.
Okay.
And Notre Dame opening game next year at home.
How about that?
Yeah, and Marcus Freeman coming back. James Laurinaitis coming back. I saw James Laurinaitis got a job on Marcus Freeman's staff.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
He'll either be a grad. I don't know how that will work. He'll either be a GA or an analyst. So I think if he's an analyst, he can't be on the field, but he does all the pregame prep, and then I think he can be up in the box for the game.
Okay.
Yeah, but Notre Dame week 1, what a start to the season. And I see Ohio State being a top – Bama will be Bama, but I see Ohio State being a top 3 team going into next year. And that game will be a great way to start it off in Columbus.
Open with Notre Dame at home, close with Michigan at home next year. And the rest of the schedule is tough as well. You've got Wisconsin, I believe. Do you have Wisconsin and Iowa next year, or is it just one?
For some reason, I'm thinking that this start, besides like non-conference, it's not that great besides Notre Dame. But I think the start of their conference schedule, without looking up, it's pretty tough.
I'm on ESPN.com now. They don't have 2022 schedule.
There's a ticker up in the top right. Top left. You should be able to change it. If not, go to Ohio State future schedules, and it'll be the first
I'm afraid if I do that, I'll knock us off the air. So I don't want to take that chance.
I'm pretty sure their start of the Big Ten schedule is tough next year. At home against Michigan. I'm already looking forward to that.
I know,
it's
last game of the season.
Away. Yeah, I know. And Jim Harbaugh's going to be talking all the crap that week.
Good. Let him talk.
But yeah,
build it up, man. Build it up. It's like I was watching Cobra Kai today, season 4, baby. Johnny Lawrence and Danielson, right? And the Cobra Kai versus Miyagi-Do, and then you've got Flying Eagle or Nasty Eagle, whatever Johnny Lawrence's dojo is named and everything. And they're talking about using all that anger when they go to the all-county championships or whatever the hell that karate thing is called. I love me some Cobra Kai. That's awesome, man. I said my favorite teams this weekend were Georgia, Oklahoma State, Ohio State, and Miyagi-Do. Those are the ones that I'm rooting for this week because I'm 6 episodes into the 10-episode 4th season. I got 4 more to go to finish it.
And you went 3-0.
Yes.
So far.
And
and Notre Dame loses. I mean, what a past 20 for Notre Dame lost.
28-7. They were up and they lost.
Yeah, and then they lost. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
How about this?
Notre Dame hasn't won. I think they're 0-10 in their last 10 bowl games. Or 0-8 in their major bowl games. I saw some stat like that. I love it.
Love the Crying Irish losing like that. Merv B on Twitter says, Ohio State football could very well have the first QB and first wide receiver taken in the 2023 draft in Stroud and Smith and Jigba. How about that? That's jumping the gun a little bit, but yeah, by all means, let's hope that they play well enough to be number 1 on Mel Kiper's board, right?
I love her impression so much. If the 2023 draft was right now, I know this makes a little sense.
Okay.
I think they would be both number 1 at their position. If that makes sense.
Say that one more time.
If the 2023 draft was right now.
Okay.
So if the seniors couldn't be drafted because they'd be drafted in 2022. Yeah. If the 2023 draft was right now, I think CJ Stroud would be QB1. JSN would be wide receiver 1. I think. I don't know.
I would say Bryce Young would go ahead of
his size. Hurt. I know as a Browns fan too, but his size. Here's why.
Until an Ohio State quarterback establishes himself as a legitimate starting quarterback and has success in the NFL, I probably would stay away from Buckeye quarterbacks because Dwayne Haskins, same type of player that Stroud is, right? Doesn't run. Throws the crap out of the football, a ton of yards, a ton of touchdown passes, and he's barely hanging on as the 3rd stringer behind Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh, right?
I can't disagree.
Justin Fields, we'll see how that works out in Chicago. He's the one guy maybe that we hold out hope for as far as a Buckeye quarterback in the NFL, whereas your Oklahoma quarterbacks or your Alabama quarterbacks have had some modicum of success at the NFL level, right? So that's why it worries me. You know,
yeah,
that's
I can't disagree with that. I hope Ryan Day changes that a little bit, and I hope CJ Stroud changes that a little bit. But hey, it is what it is right now. Just worry about what they do in college. That's all I'm worried about, unless they're a Brown.
Something exciting to build off of. My final thoughts for next year, you know, coming back and winning that. The defense has to get better, much better, even better than they were in the second half if they want to compete with the Alabamas and the Georgias and whoever the hot team. It was LSU a few years ago. Go Tigers, Joe Burrow, one team, one heartbeat. When Ed Orgeron was the coach there. See, actually, my impression of Todd is actually me doing an impersonation of Frank Caliendo impersonating Mel Kiper. For some reason, I have better success with my impersonations.
If you impersonate Frank Caliendo impersonating someone
exactly.
else,
like, do you know who Nicolas Cage is?
Yes,
the actor, right? I do an impression of Jimmy Fallon doing an impression of Nicolas Cage, because Jimmy Fallon used to do stand-up before he became the host of the Tonight Show and was on Saturday Night Live, and he would tour colleges. And I have one of his, live concerts. And he did a bunch of impressions in this concert. And, he was just doing different entertainers. And he said, Nicolas Cage, who, what, where? And that's it. Just 3 words. But it was dead on. And I was able, to pick up on that one, So, So I have had success impersonating somebody impersonating someone. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I have no success impersonating, period. So I don't have to worry about that.
It's like Coach Luke and all the bigs. Cavaliers start 3-7 footers.
I don't know how you thought. I have to
love
cough like 5 times.
I got to drink water every time I do.
I would say I want to go. I'm not even going to try to do it. I don't have water with me. All I have is a Fireball shot that I'm going to take after this podcast.
Nice. All right. Last thing for you, Josh Paloha, waiting for next year.com.
I'm very excited about next season.
Okay.
Disappointment. I know they won the Rose Bowl. I know they won 11-2, but as me and you have said a lot this season on this podcast, it's all about the big picture. It's not about winning the Big Ten. It's all about winning national championships.
Yep.
And beating Michigan. Beating Michigan, number 1, winning a national championship, number 2. So unless they do that, I think it's a disappointment. But what they showed tonight in the second half, I'm very excited about this team. I think Jim Knowles will do a lot for the defense.
Can't do any worse.
Yeah, well, that's true. It started from the bottom is what Jim Knowles is doing right now. So hopefully it only goes up. The offense, as they showed tonight, there's just so much to love. And I hope they improve, develop, whatever they have to do. I know they'll bring in some recruits. I'm sure they'll bring in some transfers too, with the transfer portal the way it is this year and going forward, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to complain after a game like tonight.
All right, Josh.
And yeah.
I want to just look at this real quick. Buckeyes football schedule for 2022. I wanted to get this out there before we leave.
All good.
Let's see here. Notre Dame, September 3rd. Arkansas State Red Wolves in week 2. Toledo Rockets week 3. Michigan State in week 4. Ohio State at Michigan State. So that's a tough way to open up the Big Ten. Tough. So you've got 2 tough games in your first 4 weeks, and then it's Penn State, then it's Rutgers, then it's Iowa, Indiana, Northwestern, Wisconsin, Maryland. The good thing is you have Maryland before Michigan, and Michigan's at home. So I'm looking at this, Josh. Notre Dame, definitely a tough game. First Big Ten game at Michigan State. That's tough. Nittany Lions at Penn State. So you've got back-to-back road games at Michigan State, at Penn State.
A Big Ten did Ohio State no favors with that one. Holy cow.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a night game at Penn State, Whitehouse.
Oh, and you're playing Iowa and Wisconsin next year. So if the Buckeyes win the national championship next year, they will have earned it, because that's going to be one of the toughest schedules for, I don't care what the SEC says, of any team in the country next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably that's 4 ranked teams in the Big Ten plus Notre Dame. That's at least 5 ranked teams. I mean, yeah, you can say what you want about Rutgers and those teams, but you're playing the best of the best in the Big Ten. And if you're Ohio State, you want that. And prepared if you want to beat the best to be the best. So,
Woo!
but man, at Michigan State, at Penn State, back-to-back of the Big
Back-to-back.
Ten season. That has to be one of the toughest Big Ten opener second games ever, honestly.
One of the toughest schedules ever, too.
In the
Looking
Big
at
Ten,
it, right?
Yeah.
Big Ten
I mean, you could
overall,
say-
when you throw
yeah.
in Notre Dame. Toledo's not a bad football team in the
No, they're
MAC
not.
either, right?
That's a top 3 MAC team, too.
Yeah. Hey,
I mean-
shout out to Mike George and Brent Stone. Happy New Year, they say, and they're watching, so we appreciate that. We always like to get everybody in out there. Again, thanks to Bob Kalfas, R.A. Kalfas Construction. If you're looking to add on to your home, build a new home, get that man cave where you can join us in the post-game show maybe next year as we try to expand this thing. Call R.A. Kalfas Construction, 440-238-5498, and ask for the Pookie price. Tell them Pookie and the Roadman sent you. That's like, what was that old TV show? Something in the Bear. What was that old I forget what that old TV show was. Something
He's
in the Bear?
I would love to hear the response he has if you say you want the Pookie price.
Yeah, give me
Like,
the
what
Pookie price.
What the heck are you talking about?
You know what? Do that and make Bob call me, and I'll tell Bob what the Pookie price is. So thanks to Bob Kalfas. Happy New Year to Bob and his family and the company R.A. Kalfas Construction. Josh, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining us all season long. And we'll maybe you can join me if we do some Browns post-game stuff here, should they make the playoffs, all right?
Yeah, that's a big if.
Hey, real quick, what do you think Monday night? Who wins?
Big Ten, Big Ben. The Big Ten. Big Ben has never lost to the Browns at home. But out of love, the way the last year's game ended, the playoff game, how Big Ben was sitting there like this crying next
Big Ben, he lost at home in the playoff game to the Browns.
Well, no, the regular season. My bad.
Okay.
Regular season.
All right.
He's like 13-0 or something. I love to send Big Ben out crying.
Okay.
Kill their playoff hopes and keep the. Well, actually, no. We'll find out the Browns' playoff hopes. They'll know Monday if it's up to them or not.
Right.
I don't have much confidence, but I'd love to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. It will be awesome, especially on national television Monday night. I just don't have much confidence in it.
Steelers offense stinks. The Browns offense stinks. May come down to special teams and defense. Whichever defense maybe scores a defensive touchdown, they end up getting the win. Both key players, Garrett and Watt, are hurt. Watt's got cracked ribs. Garrett's playing with a groin injury. I heard John Johnson III is definitely out. Maybe he'll tweet more about running the football to his head coach, and he was right about it, to be honest with you, last week against Green Bay. So the Browns, they'll have a shot. I think it will. Here's what I think is going to happen. Baker's going to have the ball again for the 6th time this season late in the game with a chance to win it, and he comes up short, and he's 0 for 6. That's what I think is going to happen.
Isn't the same 6 times the charm?
Yeah, sure.
Isn't that the same?
Well, because that's his uniform number.
True.
Maybe, yeah. And by the way,
throw a touchdown for 6 points.
Jax Teller says, Roadman, BJ and the Bear was the TV show I was talking. Pookie and the Roadman, BJ and the Bear. That's the old TV show. Love our viewers, man. Love them paying attention and joining us today. All right, Josh.
My final thoughts.
Yeah.
One last time. Thank you, everyone. Well, Kenny, thank you for always having me on here. I love being on here. I love talking Buckeyes always. The friend of the audience, it's even better. All season, I'm always down to talk Buckeyes, so I can't wait until next fall. Hope everyone had a good New Year, and as always, go Bucks.
Go Bucks, and stay healthy, Josh, all right?
You
Careful
too.
out there, all right? Thanks again. There he is, Pookie, checking in with us here on the Buckeyes post-game show as he's done all season long, and that's going to do it for me. To everybody out there for joining us here on the R.A. Kalfas Construction Buckeyes post-game show, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did all season long. Not the way we wanted the year to end, meaning the Buckeyes didn't make the playoffs and they lost to Michigan, but at least they were able to salvage the Rose Bowl in comeback fashion with a lot of young guys contributing and building momentum into next year. So hope you enjoyed the game tonight, the post-game show. Thanks again to Bob Kalfas at R.A. Kalfas Construction. Thanks to you. Happy New Year and stay healthy, everybody. See you. Bye.